Coach Jay here. I am out here waiting on my kids to get out of school, and I decided to do a video because that's my commitment. My commitment is to do a video for YouTube. But one of the things that comes up in business, especially when you're building an online education company, is the fact that there is this middle ground. So you have, I want to do this, and then you have, I'm doing this. And there's this in-between space that is not very, it's not always fun, right? And one of the things that comes up for clients, especially for women, because I coach women, and one of the things that comes up for us is feeling as if, right? It's an emotions. So feeling as if we're doing a lot of hard work. These things are simply narratives that come up because we have programmed the body to believe that we're doing enough, and anything that you do more of, it's too much for the body to handle. And so the brain will try to slow you down on purpose. That's my new phrase for the 2024, on purpose, because we're consciously doing it. We're subconsciously also programming the mind to only go so far. Because when we feel like we're exerting ourselves too much, what happens is that the body will start to respond with a lot of resistance. And when you are resisting from your own success, you are delaying it. And so the question came up on our huddle, which is really good. And she said, my client was just, and I'm paraphrasing, but she was like, I've done all these great things, and it's been such an interesting year. I've seen my life just transform in front of me, but there is something that comes up. And lately I've been telling myself, I'm so tired. And I don't know why I'm telling myself this. Many times I'm procrastinating. Now, let me just preface by saying this. My client has literally went through the hardest pivot. I think she was probably one of the biggest pivots I've ever experienced in my years of coaching. She used to teach pole, right? The pole, pole dancing, pole instruction. And now she's completely pivoted to feminine movement and mindset. She has over 100,000, followers on Instagram. She has 80,000 people on YouTube. She has a very, very high volume population that follows her, very high volume following. As she went through this transition period where she felt like she was being canceled because people were used to her doing one thing, and now she was doing something totally different. And like I said, this is probably the one client that I've seen the hardest shift, very deep pivot. And now you're in the new way, and people are, unfollowing left and right. So you have the numbers that are dropping and all of that. So the biggest thing for me is that when she was saying how tired she was, and I said, well, that's very interesting, because I'm tired is simply asking for deep rest, but you're challenging yourself to go up a class. Most of us have been trained and indoctrinated into the middle class. Am I lying or am I lying? Just comment below and let me know. Most of us have been programmed and trained and indoctrinated into a middle class mindset or a poverty mindset. And when you have been trained to believe that money is lacking, or don't work too hard, or if you do work hard, you got to prove yourself, and it's performative, right? But when it comes down to building a business of value, the value has to go for value. And you're building an infrastructure and a machine to support your lifestyle. And the class system is, of course, your poverty, poor, middle class, upper middle class, wealthy, ultra wealthy. And of course, you got the very top, which is the elite. And you're like, okay, so I'm going from middle class to upper middle class to wealthy. How do you get there? How do you transfer classes? You transfer classes by way of, number one, skills. Number two, having a wealth generating or wealth building some type of asset, such as a business or real estate. I told her, I said, many times, a lot of us, especially women, we want to avoid the hard work, which is also why we are okay with accepting minimum, because we're not training ourselves to bring in a client every single day, making $2,000, $3,000 every single day, making $5,000, $10,000, $8,000 every single day, right? We're not serious. We're avoiding, because not only do you have to be reprogrammed, you have to have the access, but then you have to also be programmed for wealth. And program for wealth is going to be a lot different because you're older now. And a lot of the things that you learn, you have to unlearn so that you can relearn something else. You're staying in the same spot. And so I told her, when we say we're tired, we have to realize that that's just our body resisting and don't want us to go further than what we believe about ourselves. And the type of clients that I'm bringing in is this in alignment to the type of clients I want to work with. There's more than one way to skin a cat. We know that these options are out there, but we continue to dial back into our default. And what is our default? Our default is, I'm okay with this. I'm making a little bit here and a little bit there until that money runs out. Because people have to realize, when you're building wealth, there's a couple of things that has to happen. Number one, you've got to make money. And then on top of that, you have to think about your current bills. And then you have to think about taxes. And then you got to think about your expenses with your business. And then you got to think about your living expenses, which is whatever that amount is. And then you have to think about your desires and trips and building in personal development. Like, there's a cost to being you. And thinking, like, when we get a client, we got to stop. So I'm tired. And I know a lot of y'all have this same thing, because I have been through it. And I told her this. I said, no judgment, because I've been through this. I have had instances where I was like, I'm tired. But I'm really not. It's really just procrastination. It's just making up. You're literally making it up, because the body doesn't want to go further than what it believes about itself. The body really is resistant. Most of us are tired because we don't want to fall into this narrative of she's in her masculine. You're not overworking at all. In fact, you're literally sabotaging yourself again on purpose. You're sabotaging yourself on purpose. And that's actually not a flex, because you're going to consistently be in this predicament where you're always going to be scuffling and hustling for the next client, especially for those of you who are not scaling. You need to be scaling your business. You need to be scaling instead of getting these one-off little transactions, because you're afraid that if you put people on a payment plan, that they're not going to, pay, when you should have a recovery system for that. I hope this helps you. Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what you think.